Growing up, I went to church, went every Sunday. My parents did a good job of trying to teach me about God and making sure that I was going to church. And I went until I graduated high school and went off to college. When I left for college, I was going to class and I got kind of challenged in some of the things that I believed. There was some professors who talked about moral relativism, there not being an inherent right and wrong, things from philosophy, and I didn't have a faith really of my own that I could use to combat these things. So, really ended up kind of questioning everything. So when I turned 21, I've discovered drinking. I kind of took off with it, and really overindulged and didn't care about school. I just was kind of numbing this pain that I was feeling, this lost feeling that I had. I was starting to get really dissatisfied with where things were going, trying to find a new job, trying to get out of school and kind of move on to the next stage, and there were all these roadblocks and things. And so when I did finally get out of school and got my job, I was as focused as could be on worldly success. I defined who I was and my value in this world by material achievements, and so that's what I was pursuing all the time. When I turned 21, at the same time when I discovered drinking, I also met the woman who would become my wife, Kelly, and she really kind of anchored me back in God's path and God's plan for the world. For every 2 steps that I took off of God's path, she kind of pulled me back 1 or 2. So now I had a wife, and I figured sooner or later I'd have kids, and so now I had to get as much worldly stuff as I could, the next pay raise, the next promotion, the next recognition thing. I was still waking up every day, though, trying to get to the next thing, and it just made me angry and it made me resentful, and so I was never satisfied. I never had peace. I never had joy. When I was 26, my dad died, and that left a real hole and created a lot of pain and a lot of anger for me. Several years later, I ended up losing my job, and that again just added to the pain and to the anger and frustration at losing my identity and not knowing who I was anymore, and really struggling with where I was going and who I was in this world. Christmas that year, a couple months later after losing my job, we're next door at our best friend's house. These are the people who first brought us to Westwood. I really overindulged that night, and we ended up leaving early and going home. Kelly and I had an argument after we got home about my drinking, and I ended up deciding to leave, to walk out, and it was a really brutal night. It was about 50 to 70 below wind chills. I walked outside to go, because I was mad, and I made it just to the edge of our property, and I stopped, and I heard a voice saying, "Hey, stop! You got to knock it off," and turning to look at the house, and I really remember that voice, like, you need to go back. And I know that was God just grabbing me and speaking to me and saying, "Joel, go back." So the next day, the wife from the family next door talked to my wife and expressed concerns about my drinking. And so later when Kelly told me, I listened for the first time ever, and I didn't get mad, and I didn't fight it. I didn't tell her she was wrong like I had been for years. And I knew, that I had a problem. And so that night when everyone was in bed, I got down on my knees in my basement and just said, "God, I need you to help me." And God said, "Okay, yeah, I'm glad you're back," and started working in my life and started helping me get back onto His path and helping me to start putting some stuff right. And having found a little bit of peace, now I had to put some effort in. I knew that I had to start working on rebuilding and repairing some things. Now I can find joy in kind of some simpler things in life. One of my greatest joys is playing catch with my kids and going to the park and playing baseball and watching Twins games and just enjoying being with my family. Life is still hard sometimes. There's still challenges, but I know that the first thing that needs to define my identity is that I am a child of God, and I am still a sinner in need of a Savior, but that I have hope and salvation through Jesus Christ.